Welcome to the Strange on Purpose podcast. Today I have on, I'm not going to say a dope individual because in the last 6 episodes, and I'm sorry it's listened to the last 6 episodes and had to hear that. Let me think of a different term. Today I have on someone who is, how do I define TJ? Actually, you know what? I'm going to stop there and I'm going to let TJ define herself. So I want to welcome TJ to the Strange on Purpose podcast. TJ, thanks for coming on.
No, Izzy, thank you so much for having me on. I'd really, truly appreciate it.
If you were to give yourself an intro to the podcast, to anybody that's listening, how would you introduce yourself?
Oh, goodness. I would probably introduce myself as a motivated, dynamic, and outgoing individual, totally engrossed in kicks, fashion, anything that lifts my spirits, and trying to always focus on the good. Don't let the bad weigh you down.
I love how positive you are throughout everything. And if you follow TJ and anybody that's listening, you have your phone, as long as you're not driving, go ahead, type in Talks with TJ on Instagram, and she's going to pop up, and you go through her stuff. There's no negativity in what she's talking about. So where's that mindset come from, TJ?
It's interesting. So when you first, broached the subject, hey, I'd love to have you on the podcast, you said, I want to know, what makes you strange on purpose? And you have no idea how much that question racked my brain of trying to figure out, I may know the ways that I feel different, but how can I articulate being strange on purpose? And it's funny because the compliment I get time and time again now, and I'm really humbled and grateful for it, is, my energy, that it's really refreshing, it's unmatched, it's so positive, it's so upbeat, and that it really just sparks something else in people. And I think it's mistaken that my positivity is always based on optimism, but for me, I don't think it is. So if I were to give the backstory of it, I'm very realistic. I'm not somebody that really focuses on being idealistic. So I am very realistic in usually 3 things: what I am in control of, human nature, and then the reality that everything passes in due time. And if me focusing on those 3 things, it leaves very little room for negativity because there's a lot that's outside of my control. So I try not to focus on it. I make peace with human nature because we are who we are as individuals. And then I also understand time really does take away most things. Give time is one thing I was told back in the day. And it's something that stuck with me. So I try not to leave a lot of room to be negative. I focus on what I can control, and that I know that's always my attitude and my mindset towards anything.
When I went through your profile the first time I was introduced to you, I mentioned I saw nothing but positivity, but at the same time, you say you practice a ton of patience, but you also fill that time that you have to be patient with a ton of productive tasks and things like that. So, where's that motivation come from? Is it I know in your upbringing, was it what's really pushing you to make sure that you're not having any hardcore, amazing amount of downtime or anything like that?
It's funny. So I just turned 31 on November 21st, and my mom, because she wasn't here. Thank you. Since my mom wasn't here physically to celebrate it with me, she thought it necessary to go far back down memory lane. And as a former social worker, she loves to remind me of different behaviors or things I may have done in the past as a child, and how she's seen it evolve and grow, and the ways that it's really served to help me be the person that I am today and experience the things I have. And even back then, she goes, what child wants to be so organized as to label their drawers and to, to have everything in just a meticulous way? And even if I told you, oh, well, you can't watch TV right now, or you can't play a video game right now, she goes, it did not faze you. You simply went on to draw or do something else creatively. There was never anything in any dead space within your day. It was reading, it was always spent doing something. So I think I've never really had the ability to just sit still. I'm always wanting to move forward in something that captures my attention. And I consume a lot of Gary Vee content, and so of course it is catered to a lot of creators. And he always preaches, people are so impatient in this space. They think it will happen immediately, overnight, and I never wanted to adopt that mentality going into this because, if you go into this just thinking you're going to blow up, you're setting yourself up for a lot of frustration and a lot of disappointment. But if you go into it understanding there's something to enjoy every day creatively, continues to push me. Now, in terms of all areas of life, it's hard for me to explain because nature. Like, for a very long time, it was second nature 3 o'clock in the morning to go at 4 a.m. And I needed to do that. I didn't need, coaching or need. I don't compete in bodybuilding or anything in that way. So there was no fad there. I just want to continue to better myself and push myself. My mom teases me I'm the definition of just do it, because I'll just do whatever the task is that'll get me closer to a goal. I don't really question it if the logic is there and it makes sense and I have the time and I'm of good health. I don't want to waste it because I know everybody doesn't always have those those priceless opportunities.
Your focuses, I should say, are very, very niche. When did you start developing passions for the waking up every morning and going to work out? And I'm going to pick up not the latest sneaker, but I'm going to make sure I'm picking up sneakers and doing it the right way with finances. Where did that come from?
So in terms of fitness, I've always been active, even when I was really little, and I've always actually been a tomboy. So anything girly was just out of the question. I told my mom one year, I go, listen, I want to be a football player for Halloween, and she's like, okay. She never fought for Halloween, and she's like, okay. She never fought it. She never went against anything. She was super supportive. So I said, I want to be a football player. And little did she know, I was going to wear that football uniform every single day though, beyond Halloween. And then I said, Mom, I want this movie. She got me the Little Giant. So you could not tell me that I was not going to be part of some little league football team. And I actually went to, I just wanted to always push myself to be very active and in the middle of it. So I attended, I remember, a football camp. It was a Jamie Brooks football camp, and he was a former NFL player. I was the only girl in the entire camp of 40, 50 some boys, and it did not matter to me. I was there neck and neck with them the entire time, and I always wanted to push myself. Okay, I won't necessarily be the fastest, the strongest, the most skilled on a court, a track, because I ran track and field as well, or even soccer when I did play, but I'm going to go out there, and I will compete, absolutely, no questions asked. So it's always been there. I started playing sports at about 7 or 8, and it continued through high school varsity sports. College was the big change because I got injured freshman year. You understand there's a total shift that has to happen with so much that's demanded of you. Even in Division III sports, there's so much that's demanded of you while also keeping your grades up because I was on academic scholarship. Not athletic. So I had to maintain certain standards there for grades. I knew my mom wasn't going to take me slacking off at all. And when I made the decision to walk away from basketball and just focus on school sophomore year, it still left all of this time, and it still left this drive of I have to be active. I can't just sit down. I've never sat down. What do I do without a season? I don't have practices. I don't have anything. And so I still maintained working out once or twice a day at school, even once I was done with basketball, and I wanted to continue that. So once I was done with graduate school, I just made it a staple part of my life. No matter what, every day I'm going to continue to be active as much as I could. And the 4 a.m. part came about because I work a full-time career, but also I had other things, I needed to get done during the day if I'm just maintaining my household. So I said, okay, looking at my schedule, when does it make sense for me to go work out? And also when are there the least amount of people there so I can just kind of be in my space? And it was early in the morning, so I would get up at around 3, get to the gym about 3:30, 4 o'clock, stay there until 5:30. I would get back, I would get ready for work and go about my day. Now I don't have to get up that early just simply because I work from home now, but I still maintain I usually start my day with a workout because that's a commitment to myself I don't ever want to let go of. I think it's so easy to let everything else be prioritized except for having something for yourself, like your own self-care, your own self-worth in terms of your body. We only get one, and we usually tend to abuse it. So for fitness, it's truly part of me. I'm one of those people that feels weird if I go so many days without working out. It just doesn't feel natural.
Yeah.
For creatively, so I did not start, it didn't start out in terms of being outwardly kicks focused. I've always been into sneakers. I was a little girl that cried if you put me in a dress. I just wanted to be in sneakers and sweatpants, sweatshirt. I always wanted to be comfortable. And I maintained still having my kicks when I went to college. My mom even told me, you do not need all these sneakers going to college. I'm like, yes, I do, Mom. Just understand this. Like, other kids will bring as much stuff. No child brought as much stuff to college. I had stuff above the closet, under the bed, in the closet, just all around. So I found out I didn't need as much stuff as I brought. But I would always have, as I got older, like younger 20s, other young adults, I would just see them on Instagram or on Twitter, jokingly complaining about not being able to afford just like the basic things in life. And they were graduates with degrees and they had jobs, but they were still complaining that basic necessities were a problem. And here I am posting, oh, got this, got that, this. And they're like, wait, do you not like struggle? Like what is the problem here? What are we missing? And I go, well, I just budget my money. I know what I'm going to make every, week, whether I'm paid weekly or twice a month. I know what I'll make. So I'll just make a plan to take care of my needs, budget for my wants, put some aside for saving, and make sure that I'm paying extra on my debt if I can. And I certainly credit that to my mom because I learned that. Like many people don't know, so she went through a period where she was unable to work due to a car accident. And my lifestyle never changed. Like it really didn't change or differ, even regardless of the fact that she wasn't working. I still had Christmases kids were jealous of, and I was still able to get kicks for basketball and track and the one pair, if you once you get really good grades, or the one pair for your birthday or Christmas. And I know that's because of her diligent behavior in terms of managing money, making sure she planned for the long term and not just short-term gratification. And I try to carry that as much as I can. I know I could always be doing better, but I try to carry that. And young adults will start to reach out to me that I was acquainted with to ask, hey, I'm not understanding, where I'm going wrong with my money. And I would say, okay, let's just sit down. Like, what are your fixed expenses? And I would realize, okay, they laid these out. And then they would tell me the things they would like to do during the month that may be variable. And so I'm like, okay, I'm missing the connection here because you have an extra like $500 a month. So what do you mean you're struggling, every single month? You're clearly able to put aside, thousands a year in savings. Like, what's the problem? And they go, well, I don't know. And it kind of clicked that I had a finance degree and we still only did one personal finance class. So we're not educating young adults on how to manage money. We're not educating them on how to win early on in adulthood just by having a plan, right? We just say, oh, you need to have a 5-year plan for life, but we don't even teach kids how to have a plan for their first paycheck when it comes in. And I think we drop the ball there and we set them up to continue that generation after generation. And so I started to help young adults on Twitter. I'll never forget, it was a long Twitter thread that was like, hey, okay, if you make X, for example, and your rent is this, and your utilities are this, and cable is this, and your phone bill is this, and this is gas, and this is food, I go, okay, we have taken care of your basic needs. Throw in medication or pets or other variables that you may have that are fixed for your life. And then, what are the minimum debt payments? And beyond that, what are the things you would like to do? And you may have to tell yourself no on some things, but you don't have to say no on all things if you make a plan, so you're not feeling guilty for the things you're doing for yourself. And there were so many young adults that said, oh, this really helped. Like, I never thought of it that way. And one of my friends said, you should really write like an ebook to help people out with this. And I'm like, listen, Lex, no one's going to read this ebook. And she's like, yes, they will. Trust me. I'm like, okay. I took 2 weeks time, wrote the ebook. I had my mom and godmom proofread it. They said it's great, it's good to go. I said, hey, everybody, it's free because I feel like this is information we should have received. I sent that out, I believe, on Twitter and Instagram, and I probably sent out 40 to 50 copies within like a 72-hour time span to people's
Damn.
emails. It was shocking. I was like, man, if I had charged, I could have made a nice
Yeah.
little buck. But till this day, I still just provide it for free. I want to be able to be a helpful resource to young adults because we've seen our parents often just work to live and enjoy very few things, or they even feel guilty. You know, so many parents feel guilty if they do anything for themselves because they're always doing things for their kids, and I don't want that for other young adults. So the book was doing well, and I said, okay, what's another way to kind of get that message out? Because some people, they don't connect maybe with the book, even though there's an example in there of how to budget. And so Lex said, well, you're great at articulating your thoughts. Why not just do a YouTube channel? And I was like super green back then. It's not that I wouldn't watch YouTube, but I'm just thinking, okay, sure, I'm going to do a YouTube channel. So I did it, and let me tell you, it humbles you when you get like no views on anything. But I loved the information that I was putting out because it was all about personal finance at first. So most people don't know. They have to go all the way back to my very first video. My channel was actually called Fat to Fit Finance, which in my mind it made sense, right? Because if you were fitness and finance can go hand in hand, and if you were oversaturated with a lot of debt, it was really just gonna, hurt your health in terms of being financially fit. And so if you could cross to the other side, it would help you out. It made sense in my mind, didn't make sense in application, but that didn't make sense in application, but it was my first experience. I still really enjoyed it. I just ended up taking a break because I was just focused on other things. And finally I said, you know what, I want to jump back into it, but I wanted it to be much more authentic to me because as much as I enjoy talking about basic money management skills, I talk about kicks nonstop all day, every day, sun up to sundown with friends on threads and comments. And that's what I decided to incorporate with Talks with TJ. So the name changed so that I could talk about any and everything, but be able to integrate personal finance and use sneakers as a medium for young adults to really connect with it. And the best comments I get are not that, oh, I copped this sneaker too. I'm like, awesome, congratulations. But it's the comments of people saying, from watching your videos, I've cut down my credit card debt. I've made a plan to pay off my student loans. I still watch all of your content, but I'm not buying sneakers right now because financially I understand my money could be better spent. And so I'm trying to do that right now at this time. Like those are the comments that mean the most. And it lets me know I feel like I'm doing something right, even if I sometimes think I just jumped into this.
Damn. What's How do you stay consistent with that? I log on to YouTube almost probably definitely daily. But it's almost a ritual. I wake up in the morning before my girlfriend, make coffee, let the dog out, sit down with my coffee, and tune into some vlog. And most of the time it's yours, other times it isn't, but your name is constantly popped up. And it's constantly popped up in a way that's different than other YouTube creators because you're essentially you have premieres basically throughout the week, so you're doing stuff ahead of time. So how do you stay consistent through it all?
It's funny. I joke on my channel always. I never intended to be a daily creator on YouTube because for people that are, if you know anything about creating in that space, that's usually reserved for people where it's their full-time career.
Yeah.
So it's reserved for those creators where that is how they sustain their way of life, is by creating amazing, high production level content. And so when I first started out, I think it was only once a week, and then something would come up where, well, I really want to talk about this topic as well, but it doesn't necessarily tie into that topic. So okay, I'll just do a second video. And then, as you know, with sneakers, there's all kinds of news and updates and things that can go on within the culture of the community, and you may want to speak on it because people are asking your opinion on it. So, okay, I'll go ahead and add another video. But I knew there were still certain things I couldn't let slack because it's so easy to get caught up in creating that, oh, well, I went to bed late, so I'll just skip a workout. Well, if I skip the workout, okay, I got to go work out now, but if I have something else planned with friends or with family, when am I going to film, and then when am I going to edit? And so I decided, okay, I got to have a plan of what I want to do. So I sat down and I actually mapped out. So I would just print off months of the calendar, January through December. Now, I never intended it to fill it that far ahead, but I would sit down and say, okay, what are the discussions I know in my mind I want to have, whether it's a series, whether it's focusing on just one specific topic. Are there certain shoes I already know I'm going to buy throughout the month or the year, so I can already put those down on the calendar? And as I started to map that out, I realized, well, if you already know what you're going to talk about Thursday and Friday, if you have the time Monday, why not just record them? You don't have to edit them at that point, but why not just record them so they're done? And then when you have downtime Monday night, Tuesday night, edit, upload them, get everything set, and you can go about your day. So that's where it started. I just wanted to kind of jump ahead because I wasn't always available. I was doing other things when my videos actually would go live. I didn't start premiering my videos until lockdown. Actually, when we all went into lockdown March of this year, I had the time. I was then visibly sitting in front of a computer. I thought, oh, well, I can absolutely go ahead and premiere. And it's nice because you build a community, you build the interaction with your subscribers, you get to know them more and more. They get to connect with you. And I think it helps them gain more from the content or from that video. So I wanted to stay with that because there are creators where the struggle for them, and it's not just for them, it's a lot of things in life, it's consistency. Can you be consistent as a creator to stay in front of individuals? Viewers have very short attention spans. Their loyalty to certain content may be fickle because there's something else that's brand new and shiny and interesting that captures the short time that they have to themselves, maybe in the afternoon once they're done with their day. And I thought, okay, if I want to continue to do that, I have to be consistent. Well, I have to make a plan to be consistent. So I've kept that. I have a calendar right now, actually, for 2021. So January through most of July is mapped out for at least 3 videos a week. And then I know as I have pickups, whether it's clothes, shoes, I'll fill those in sparingly. And then if I have other projects or things in the works that I want to share with my viewership, then I'll do that. But I think it's just having a plan. Like if you can map out an idea of what it is you want to bring to your channel every single week and at least get that down on paper, that gives you direction of when you can film. And most of us have the time. Now, I know I'm really weird because I don't know if you know Sneaker Fetish. He's another amazing creator in this space. Yeah. He always teases me. He goes, you're the only like weird creator like Jay-Z who does like videos in one take and you don't edit anything. And most people, I don't know if they know that. So there's not chopping and editing in terms of the scenes that you see or me talking in terms of commentary. It's literally recorded in one take. So if it's an 8-minute video, it's typically recorded 8 minutes straight through the first time, and then I go to edit and put whatever transitions or overlays I need for B-roll. But I don't, it's not scripted, and it's not me record this part, stop, record that part, have to edit out mistakes and things like that. That actually doesn't happen when I'm recording. That probably makes it easier for me to record 3 commentary videos in one day like I did yesterday, and then I edited one last night, so it's uploaded to go today at 6, and then I have to edit Fridays and Saturday, or probably Fridays and maybe Saturdays tonight, and then those will be ready to premiere later on this week.
So what, let's go back to when TJ first started the channel, and you were putting stuff out, and like you said earlier, it's tough when people aren't you're not getting the views you want to see immediately. Like how did you battle through that? What was going through your head? I'm sure that's something that people that are listening that are thinking about going on like creating on YouTube or have done it and have battled through this. How'd you get out of that rut, let's call it?
I think I relied on a lot, probably based on my sports background, of when you're first starting out, you're not that great, you're not that good, right? When I
Yep.
first started out at basketball, you double dribble, you lose control of the ball, you aren't aware, you're not paying much attention to where you're placing the ball, off the backboard. If you're in track, you're not paying attention to your strides, your breathing, and it all plays a factor. It takes time for you to build up the skill set in maybe a sport. So I think it also takes time for you to build up that skill set in terms of delivery, being consistent, but I think also you kind of have to fall into what makes you different in whatever niche or lane you're in within YouTube. And so part of me, I had to understand that maybe I wasn't in just the best one, because I was just in, kind of just regular finance, but maybe that wasn't, the best lane or the best space for me to be, because the most interactive and energetic I am is when I'm mentioning finance, but somehow it's tying back to sneakers and how they can relate to young adults. So it was humbling, but I had to realize, okay, people aren't watching, but for the people that are watching, what's the feedback you're getting? And I think people have to focus on engagement and interactions versus just the numbers, because there are creators that get lots of numbers, but there's not a lot of interaction there. People are there for whatever maybe the value is, but it's not to maybe interact. So
Yeah.
people are taking the time to leave comments and actually inquire more. They want you to go more in depth about it, and you're interacting back with them. I think that can be as fulfilling sometimes as the numbers. And I think if you focus on that, what is the community you're building? Because when you're really small too, and not a lot of people are watching, but some are interacting, okay, there's no reason for you not to engage back with them. And I think that's another way that you build trust with them, and you start to just trust in yourself. Like, you may actually know what you're talking about. Don't doubt yourself so much. And I think once I took a step back too and realized, okay, what is it you want to bring, be wanting to go and move into the sneaker line, I realized that so many young adults, they see us buying shoes, right? And they see it at an alarming rate. Every new release that comes out, and the high price collaborations, if you have to pay resale behind the scenes, or they don't see that there can be a logical and a smart way to go after those releases, they may also not see the truth that you're not obligated or mandated to have to go after them just because somebody you like or gravitate towards is telling you this is dope, this is fire, which are unfortunately the only two words ever used on YouTube to describe a shoe. But these are dope, these are fire, these are a must-have, top 10 of the year. And I don't want young adults to feel pressure that they have to conform to spending money maybe they don't necessarily have. Focus on whatever place you're at in life, especially if you are young and you're still making your way. You haven't even really begun to support yourself. And in due time, you'll be able to do the things you want to do, I think, if you do it in a smart and logical way. So I would tell young creators, if they're struggling with, a lot of people aren't watching, they aren't viewing, are you enjoying the content you're making every single day? If you're doing it, that's probably a third of what you need to focus on. The second part is you will have to find how you're different or unique and how that uniqueness can draw in viewership. Because if you're out creating content, you are doing it to be of value to someone else. It can't be all about you. It will have to be about to be of value to someone else. It can't be all about you. It will have to be about what are people actually looking to watch, which is why search engine optimization matters. And then finally, I would say, how when you're putting something out, is it helping somebody? Like, is it actually providing a demand that's out there? And it'll take a minute. But again, that's where I think the patience comes back in. You have to be patient. You can go at it a year, you can go at it 2 years, and it's not going the way you think it should, but I would say still be patient. Now, for some people, creators, I've seen this, they're not only are they impatient, they're not really grinding as hard as they think they are. Like, I've uploaded 800 videos on YouTube, and I really started only going diligently, hard at my channel since April of 2018. So that's a lot of content to upload in 2 years' time. And there are some creators that are barely doing a video a week, but they wonder why they're not growing. So you have to be accountable to yourself. Sometimes you're not putting yourself in a position to win. You're not putting yourself in a position for anyone to watch you or see you. And so I think you have to be, remind yourself of that as well.
Transitioning to content creation. It's a tough. I'm not even gonna forward it that way. Basically, what I'm trying to get into is when I log into YouTube and see a vlog, recommended vlog or anything like that, most of the creators are white,
right?
And I gravitate towards the creators that aren't white, people of color, and it's kind of weird to me to see how, from an outsider's perspective, from someone who doesn't create on YouTube, how hard I have to dig to be able to find a creator of color, unless I'm going through the rabbit hole and checking out who TJ watches or anything like that.
Right.
So to just blatantly ask, do you feel as if black and brown creators are given the same opportunities as white creators on YouTube?
In terms of having access to
the platform,
the platform, and you have access to a Google account, yes. Maybe in terms of having to almost prove yourself in terms of presentation, production, and the value you bring, I absolutely think you're going to have to work harder.
Yeah.
Because it's not uncommon. There's a reality. I can sometimes look at, and I'm a black female in this space, so not only is it rare to see, a person of color in this space really thriving or always doing well at the forefront, but it's also, do you see a lot of women in the space within YouTube, and just within our culture in general. Sneaker culture in general is very male dominated. And as a black creator, you are aware that you can have counterparts that maybe aren't as consistent. They don't evolve in terms of the content as much. It can sometimes seem lazy. It can seem the product is the star versus them actually bringing the value to the channel and themselves. And you can see that get pushed and blow up. And you can see, you will question yourself, okay, so if I do the exact same thing, is it the exact same result? Now, there are a lot of factors that can play into that, but the matter is, I don't see as many larger, black creators in this space that have crossed that threshold, I think. So when you look at, and there are a few you can look at. You can look at Jock Slade. You can look at Mike Mitchell, a.k.a. A Sneaker Life. You can look at also Tony D2Wow and Bullet RC. But outside of those, can we name many more? Probably not. So then it becomes just a handful that are there.
Yeah.
And beyond that, you're not seeing a whole lot of anything else. Or if you see it, I sometimes wonder, do they fall off or stop pursuing it because they feel there isn't the reward there that maybe they're seeing other people get?
When I ask you what you would do to kind of right the ship on that, do you think it's something simple that needs to be done? Or, we can't keep, it's in every industry at this point. Both of us being black and brown, we've always been told you're going to have to work harder.
Right.
But is there, I would like to think there's a point in the future that we don't have to tell our kids or our kids, whatever it's going to be, that's the case. But what can we do today to kind of help combat this problem in the future?
I think it will go back. I mean, very similar to, in dealing with the disproportionate maybe treatment of all of us, in this country. It takes people speaking up. I think it takes people speaking up in those creative rooms, perhaps. So, there are always rooms in which chatter is going on about opportunities and chances for a creator, no matter who they are, to, be in a position to be showcased with a brand or a project or, an opportunity. And that's a chance for Spotlight to shine on someone we may not know. And just imagine if that spotlight was on more, let's say, black and brown creators. I think that's actually what it could help. What would be a really helpful point to get us maybe ahead. So, in the rooms where, I've been fortunate enough where there have been people that have mentioned me into rooms, mentioned my name in rooms I had no idea about it. And then an opportunity arises and you're like, wow, okay. And then I've been on set where majority of the people that are there, they're all white. So, okay. So that means you had a person of non-color that had to have probably been in that room that advocated, for you and said, oh, this person has something. No, I want to use this person. And you don't ever know who you're all up against. But let's just say you are up against, a white individual that's maybe always been used. And
Yep.
it could be another black creator that is just as engaging and captivating and dynamic, bring something unique and different. So imagine if they're given that chance, and now they're in the forefront, and now imagine they're in another room down the line,
Yeah.
and they're able to advocate for the next young black or brown creator to be given that chance and to shine. So I think it's gonna need us trying to advocate for each other as I think we always do, but also having those allies that maybe don't look like us that bring us into the room and bring us right up there.
I love that. I love that answer. What what do you have planned for the future, TJ? I know anybody that is listening, TJ is just spitting facts right now, but in reality, TJ also just got off work. So is your goal is your future goal or your goal in your plans is your goal to make YouTube and content creation a full-time gig, or do you have something else in mind?
It's funny. I was someone, and she's I actually had a CEO ask me that, and she owns a branding and kind of marketing manager, I should say, company where she works solely with individuals that brand and market themselves as their own businesses within themselves. And she said, so where do you plan to go with this? Because I think that is kind of the case. If people are curious, so do you plan to just do YouTube full time and not work anymore? I'm probably one of the rare people in America where I love what I do. I love where I work. I'm just always very, mindful not to disclose that with the internet today, as awesome as it can be from time to time and not awesome. But I love what I do. I love where I work. I love the challenge that I get there. So I know that I'm rare in that I'm not stressed about what I do every day at work. I may have a lot of deadlines from time to time. I may have a lot of tasks on my plate, but I'm not stressed about it. And so getting joy out of what I do there allows for me to equally, I think, enjoy creating. So they're like two jobs that I'm happy to.
Yeah.
I don't know that I have plans for myself to stop. I always joke and laugh and say I would leave my company if Nike reached out with the right deal, just to say that, like, yes, I worked for the swoosh. I finally did it. But I don't know that I would. I'll put it like this: if it ever got to that point where, I'm truly to the point where, I'm truly sustaining myself based on what I do creatively, then then I would maybe have to seriously consider it. And because I'm not there right now, I'm still considered a micro creator in this space. I'm able to supplement my income, based on my creativity on YouTube and then other sponsorships or products. I have other things in the works right now, so you guys will have to stay tuned on my page, and then AJ, aka Ty87Kicks on Instagram, because him and I are teaming up for something really fun and really special, to be in front of people more and more, and being able to have those opportunities to do it with people you trust in this space, and then people that have your best, I guess, at heart, I guess you're the best for you at heart is fun, and I don't know where it'll lead. I would love to be able to publicly, either host events or at least be able to get back out there and talk to young adults, because I think parents or maybe teachers get frustrated that messages don't reach home to kids, but what medium are you really using to connect with them? Mm-hmm. And are you trying to tell them a story or direct them to what they should be doing in life in a way that doesn't really hit home with them? Talk kicks with a young adult, like in Kids Foot Locker, if I'm there on the weekends working, because I can talk to them about a sneaker and maybe about if their attitude wasn't up to par, and explain that mom and dad are working hard every day, so what they're getting for you right now, it's an extra, it's a want, it's not a need. You have shoes on your feet right now, they don't have holes in them.
Yeah.
So trying, I would love to be able to get out and be able to talk to kids like that, whether it's at high schools, seniors from college that are ready to graduate, to just be mindful. That's the real test. Your first real check when you're an adult will set you up to succeed, or it can set you up to fail. Yeah. And you may have to pick yourself back up down the line and do things a little bit better than you did the first time. But I'd love to be in front of young adults, and I'm sure YouTube can probably be a springboard for that if I stay at it, and if I'm able to transition that to more projects and opportunities, probably on Instagram equally as well as on YouTube.
When it's all said and done, and I think you probably answer this in that answer, but I'm going to ask it again. When it's all said and done, what impact do you want to leave on the world?
Pink song when she says, if I could light the world up for just one day. And for me, if I could, light up people internally just to make them feel empowered, to understand that their biggest key to success is just commitment to themselves. So I'm not somebody that is ever, an anomaly in terms of silver spoon and outside of reach of being an everyday person. But I think if you are, I've realized my commitment to myself has taken me places that I didn't think it could, and far beyond. And I want to spark that in people. Just commit to you every single day. We always commit to the negativity, the doubt, the self-sabotage, and it's easy to do just because of everything that's always coming at us from every angle. But we're not consistent in the small things that will help us get closer to where we want to be. So if I could spark in somebody, it's okay to be a little selfish and commit to yourself, because in committing to whatever it is you're setting out to do, you have no idea how your story or your journey is going to spark something in somebody else. And it can be a chain reaction of people committing to themselves, because whenever you are, I think, in your element or walking or operating in your purpose, it opens the door for someone else. And you don't know whose door you're probably going to open if you're committing to your own purpose.
Damn. On that note, where can people find out more about TJ if they want to ask you a question about anything you just talked about? Where can they find out more about you? Where can they kind of follow your journey?
Yeah, absolutely. I'm very, very active on YouTube. I almost post daily videos, so you guys can find me on YouTube, Talks with TJ. Be sure to subscribe, like whatever video it is that you catch. Please engage in the comment section. I get back to as many comments as I possibly can. I'm on Instagram at talks.with.tj, and I post there far more than I do on YouTube. I post on Instagram probably 4 or 5 times a day, and it's just because I need to get content out of my phone so that my phone doesn't run out of storage, and Google doesn't run out of storage for me. But I'm on there. If you guys ever want my budgeting ebook, it's called How to Build a Set Budget. SET stands for Save Extra Debt Payments and Treat Yourself. You can just email me. My email is right on my Instagram. You can also just email me, tajakiesel@gmail.com, and I'm happy to get back to you. I usually get back to you guys within a day, get the ebook to you, and hopefully it's able to help you, really take control of your income so you can enjoy the little things that make us smile, like sneakers.
TJ, thanks for jumping on the Strange on Purpose podcast. We got to do this again in a year, see where you're at.
Thank you. Yeah, absolutely. I would love to do that, and hopefully farther along than I am right now.
Thanks.
Thank you. 4 or 5 times a day, and it's